Guys, okay, so first and foremost, there's a baby hiring announcement at the end of this video. Just like a little hint of just what's to come and what we're gonna cover in this video. Also, if you ever hired people, I would love to hear kind of like your thoughts, the process, tips, tricks, hints to like sorting through all of the options out there to kind of find the right people. If you could, we'll get into that at the end. But for everybody who's here for the actual content of the video, what I would have known, I'll put a link to an old blog I wrote like a year or two into business of like what I wish I would have known. It's a little more like when I was younger and spunkier and a little more like fire under the ass than, now that it's been a decade, I've got gray hairs, which I'm pretty sure is because of this business, and a little more perspective. Now, keep in mind, a lot of this is going to contradict itself, right? There is some advice that's like, oh, I wish I would have done this and this, and like some of those completely contradict each other. Keep that in mind. Just take like the main principle of what I'm talking about instead of the actual literal. Just sometimes I'm a lot more like concrete and like this is how you should have done it, and it's kind of like take the nugget in the message. Cool. Okay. First and foremost, I would have focused about 80% of my time networking and 20% of my time building skills. I don't know if that would have meant that I would have left copywriting and developed an entirely, completely different skill set, but I think by focusing so much on networking, you really, really get in touch with people and their problems and what they're going through, and maybe that is where you can develop like specialties and other skills and niches and all of these things, instead of you just focusing on. People message me all the time, and this was me when I was younger too, like so worried about copywriting and getting it right and like how do these pages look and all these things, and it's like until you've talked to people, it's kind of not relevant, but like you're putting the cart before the horse, and you need to get out there and talk to people and figure out what business, because maybe you're in this and you're like, hey, yes, I want to be a copywriter so bad. And then you discover that like clients can't figure out how to set up like an email automation of like an email funnel, right? And you decide maybe that's a skill you want to kind of dive into. You tinker around with it a little bit, you figure out how to do it in like ConvertKit or MailChimp or whatever. And now you've got the skill set that you can add on top of that because you've listened to people. Okay? That's something I wish I would have known. Not that I don't know if that would have changed that much, but that's just what I would have done. When I sat down to write this, that was like the number one thing, because I would have spent way more time talking to people and like being in groups and being like aware of problems than anything. At the same time, to completely contradict that, I would have focused a lot more time on building my actual business instead of worrying so much about clients and their business. I'm just extremely sympathetic, and like I love to work with people, and as soon as they bring me on, I always think about like, oh my god, your business, your clients, your customers, your this. I think because writing copy gets you so in that mode that you feel like you're a part of it. And as brutal as it is, like how did I say this? Okay, you don't own the business, right? And as soon as the budget goes down, writers are one of the first ones to go. Because clients are stupid. No, I can't. You should market even through the down times. Like, keep that in mind. But, it's how it is. It's how the cards are presented. When the budgets go down, marketing is one of the first departments to take the hit. Everything else has to keep churning and whatever. So just keep in mind, you are always on the chopping block as a freelancer. It's just how the game is played. Like that's why you need to have a lot of clients. But the point is, if you become extremely invested in your client's business and then they just like let you know they're firing all contractors right before Christmas. I still have PTSD over a client who did that. There you go. And that's it. And now all of that work and that care and all of that everything, like you don't get to milk that project. I saw a great quote from James Clear. I might get it tattooed on my throat because I loved it so much. It said, "Unfinished projects can't compound." Now, what that means for your business is that, like, I'm always like hit or miss on like whether I should advise people to like write blogs and stuff for their own content, because that's kind of like, but I think anybody who wants to get into marketing and copywriting should consider running their own site. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be within copywriting. If you write a blog about copywriting, you're going to be competing with agencies, and therefore, good fucking luck with ever doing that, because they are publishing content at such an alarming rate. It's like a lot. But if you have like a side passion in planners or a side passion in movies, I am truly of the belief, and I should have done like, okay, let's illuminate. Let's go back 10 years. Let's say I started a blog in, let's just say planners, right? Because I love them and I have 100. And I had been doing that for 10 fucking years at this point, right? Just imagine that. How much that could have compounded over time versus all of my clients. And I love my clients and they're great people, and some I've worked with for years, and like, don't get me wrong, but their businesses are not mine. I do not get to enjoy the fruits of my labor of the compounding over time, which is the power of the internet. On YouTube, when I don't upload for like a month or two, my income only goes down a fraction because all of the videos are compounding over time. Okay? Keep that in mind. That doesn't mean you need to necessarily run like an entire business, but just think about projects. Now that you have these skills, right? You're a copywriter, you're a marketer, you're an email person, you're a graphic designer. What projects could you create that could compound with time? Whether that's, Lord knows I wrote an ebook last year about like how to get clients, and every now and then someone will find my content, they'll watch my videos, they go to my website, they buy it. I've done nothing to it for over a year. I just wrote it, I tested it, I edited it, I put it up. It's there. It's a 30-day program on how to get clients, top to bottom. It's my entire process. Literally, like, there's nothing else in there that's like, oh, the secret. Like, no, that's literally when I need to get clients. This is like my checklist. It's a lot of information, so it probably takes more than 30 days, honestly. But those kinds of things I would have focused on so much harder than being so concerned about clients in the business. I would have worked with clients and just done my job that I was paid to do. And maybe like a little extra because I love to just like help a little more on top of that. But like, that's it. I would have capped myself off at like help a little bit and then be done. Okay? Think about that. Truly, anybody who's starting in business, I know you're so concerned about getting clients and making money and like all of these things, but like if you're passionate about like vegan products, like whether you become an Amazon influencer, which is a thing, or affiliate marketing or whatever, just create something that is yours, that is your baby, that no one can touch. No one can tell you that your writing is not creative enough or like it has to fall within these guidelines. You can say and do whatever the damn well hell you please you want to say and do with that thing, because it's your baby and it's yours. Okay, now, like I said, a lot of this is going to contradict itself, but that one came from the soul, so keep that in mind. That one is real. I would have focused a lot more on taking care of my business as an entity, to feed it, to nurture it, to make it grow outside of just clients. Yes, I did read the book on the E-Myth or whatever lately. I don't know if I'd recommend it. It was kind of a lot. You could really skim through it and get the real gist on like building a business that's scalable. There's a lot of cringe in it. But there is something to that. Building a business that like you can scale. You cannot scale your time. You can raise your prices. like when you've hit capacity, which I have, which is thus the hiring conversation at the end of this video, you can raise your prices, which is fine, but there is a certain level, I don't care what anybody says, where you kind of get almost capped at. Not really. Yes, you can keep going, but there's a certain point where like old clients are going to drop off. There's only so much people will pay for certain things, right? And that's fine. Then you just find new clients who pay your higher rate, but like, sometimes you just want to be able to scale things without having to put in more effort from your own personal brain and self, right? Right? Cool. So keep that in mind. I would have taken way more to heart that people only buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. That is it. That is the pillar of content of how people purchase. Doesn't mean they have to know you personally. There just has to be like some content they can deep dive to feel like they know you a little bit. It's why a lot of you watch my videos. It's why a lot of you have entered in my courses or my like coaching or whatever it is. You know me a little bit. We make these videos, and this is my whole ass personality. Sometimes in person I'm a lot more quiet and reserved because I'm tired. But that's about it. But keeping that in mind, not that your skills don't matter. Of course, your skills will always matter. But working and chatting with people and building the trust and that they like you and they feel like they know you, which is why a lot of people have a lot of problems with like, these giant Fortune 500 companies where everybody hires their like nephew, they hire their like old Harvard alumni because it checks off some of those boxes. That's why they do it. And also like generational wealth. We could get into a whole other discussion on capitalism, but they know them, they like them, they trust them. That's why people give jobs to people who fit that criteria, and it sucks for everybody else who's trying to get into, they don't have those factors built up yet. It's really hard. You gotta do it. It's a pain in the ass anyway. But keep that in mind. I thought, well, one, that my degree would mean more. Two, that my skills would speak for themselves. But the truth is, a lot of people have no idea what constitutes good anything. Right? Okay? I'm getting really awkwardly close to the camera because I want you to hear this. People have no idea what constitutes good. They only know because other people tell them. For the most part. Yes, you can kind of like, if you follow fashion, you can look at a piece of clothing and kind of tell if the material is good or not, right? But if I was hiring, let's say, an acting coach, I would have absolutely no hogwash of an idea of what made all the kind of acting different and what would make a good coach. Same for people who hire copywriters or marketers or anything. Like, they look at my copy and they're like, is that good? I don't know. I kind of liked it. It looks legible. And that's usually the bar. Especially because copywriting is a lot of back-end stuff. And, like, if you don't have the data and the information there, like, this converted a 50% opt-in rate. Like, they have nothing to go on except for if they know you, they like you, they trust you. So mentioning that, going into business is dismantling your ego. Now, we all know a lot of business owners who have giant egos, and that's great. Because you got to be a little cocky about your business and your work in order for you to think that you can do it on your own, right? There is an element of that. At the same time, you're going to go absolutely to war with your own self and your ego and your fears throughout time. And the faster you can get over yourself and ask for help and reach out to people and do all of these things, the faster you will grow. A lot of people get into freelancing. They think, oh, I have all of this experience. I have these degrees matter. I have these fancy job titles that I've done, so people will just come to me, right? Like, I've done all this, oh, I've written, 50 landing pages. Like, I've earned it. There is no earning it. You will never earn it. That's not how it works in business. Sadly, unfortunately, you know, one controversy can take down an entire 100-year company. I mean, you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot, like, everything is built on paper cards and one good wind and it's crumbling down. So, where was I going with that metaphor? I'm sure I'll watch this later. Like, okay, yes. That made sense at the time. We'll pretend it did. But, oh, Edo, giant, yes. So the point is, ask for help. Get over yourself and ask for help. And, like, no matter how fancy you are and how many things you have under your belt, clients only care about how you help them. They don't care. Okay, it kind of matters if, like, you know, you went to Yale and you worked at NASA, right? A little fancy. That's cool. At the same time, clients only care, like I said, about what you do for them and how you help solve their problems. Like, is your Yale degree gonna patch the hole in my roof? Like, okay, you know what I mean? Not that it doesn't matter, but there's an element of you need to be very clear on how people can hire you and when and how, right? So you need to just ask people for help and get the fuck over yourself. That's what I would have told my younger self. Like, okay, you went to college. Good. First of all, that debt will still follow you for another 10 years. And also, you should take your ego down a notch and just ask for help. And, like, be helpful and ask for help at the same time, right? You can help people, but at a certain point, you need to ask them for help as well, right? And sometimes so many people have no idea what you do and what you offer. That's the thing, right? Like, you can help them, and they don't know you're hireable. If you would have just cut to that chase, sometimes you got to read the room. You got to have really good social cues. You know, just dropping it in there, like, oh yeah, like, you know, like at my job as a personal trainer, and they're like, oh my God, you're a trainer. Like, why didn't you tell me that? I could have just hired you, and we could have just, like, I could have come to your gym. Why are you tolerating me texting you with, like, all these chicken questions at 3 a.m? The other thing I wish I would have known is that it's so much goddamn harder than anyone had any idea or told me at all. Even when it's easy, even when you're making good money, it will go up and down, ebbs and flows. There's no business that just, like, returns year over year, every year, forever. You will have your highs, you will have your lows. And it's a fun game, but nothing in the world will prepare you for it. Just like how nothing in the world prepares you for parenthood, apparently. I don't have kids, but that's what everyone tells me. And I can imagine that that's the case. It's a whole little bean that's now in your house that you gotta make sure doesn't, like, lick an outlet. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot happening there. But it's so much harder than you have any idea. And also, the last and final thing is that I would have brought on help earlier, because that ties into the ego, that ties into my own feeling scrappy, all of these feelings that I had to, you know, go to war with over. I'm not gonna say business is therapy, but there's definitely some things you're gonna have to work out along the time. And if you don't work it out, it can crumble your entire business. So, if you're here for that content, that is the end of that spiel. Thank you so much for being here. I always try to make short videos, LMFAO, and they always end up being 20 minutes. Anyway, so, hiring. First of all, like I said, if anybody has any hiring help tips, that would be super lovely if you could. There will be a Google sheet down below with all your information. I cannot promise that I will get back to everybody. I cannot promise you will hear from me. I cannot promise this will even happen. I'm just putting the feelers out there, right? Because I know I have a whole bunch of client contracts right now. I have a whole bunch of things going on. I need to redo my courses for this business, which ties into what I said before. And I know because the holiday season is around the corner, clients are going to come to me. I don't need to explain this. I need some damn help, y'all. And I don't know what I need yet. And I'm still figuring that out. We're getting there. But things I know for sure that I'm certainly entertaining. Graphic designers, social media people, assistance of any kind in any category. I need help with my email. I need someone to look through it and categorize it based on what's important and what's not. Video editors. What else? Yes, I am toying with the idea of bringing on writers and help. If you are a current client, don't you worry. I am not outsourcing what we have already agreed upon that I am writing. But for new clients who come to me, we have no such previous agreement. So I may bring on some writers for help there. I don't know yet. That one I'm a little nervous about before anything else. But anyone with any kind of skills of any kind, this is your time to pitch me, because I don't know what I need yet, but I just need a list of people that I can call on and ask from, and know that maybe you have some availability and you know who I am because you watch my videos, so you may or may not like me. You don't even have to like me, but you know who I am and you know what my ethos in life is. Cool. Some things I certainly need. Hopefully you listen to all of this before you just like spam because I'll know if you listen to all this or not, and you know, you just filled out the Google sheet. You have to know one of the productivity softwares out there. I don't care if it's Notion. I don't care if it's Todoist. I don't care if it's what else is out there. ClickUp, Choir, Trello. You need to know one of them, or at least so ready to take all of the time to learn, because I hate email. And if you ever email me, it kind of goes and dies. Thus the email help. I open up my email every morning. I scan through for clients that I'm currently working with. And if there's no name on that list, then I close it, and then everything else is like when I feel like it. So the point is, I like to keep all of my work and all of my freelance and all of my help inside of a system, whether that is ClickUp or Notion or whatever. I will figure that out and build it out, and then you will just get tagged assignments inside of there, and or whatever, or however that works. I mean, you know, if you have your own system that you want to put me within, like, oh man, that would be my favorite, but like just some way that is outside of the email world, because it's the worst way to manage projects, and put it in something else. Cascade is an option, whatever. Just need to know one of them, or tell me you know one of them and like learn real quick. You know, bonus points if you've taken one of my courses or bought one of my ebooks, and please put that in there, because keep in mind, as a content creator, there's a lot of names that I kind of recognize, but there's a lot that like I would if you gave me the context. Like, oh hey, I was like the fashion blogger from like course 1 or whatever, or like if we've been on a power hour, you've been through my mentorship, like whatever, to give me some context, because until I hire someone who can manage and overload my entire CRM, I don't know who anyone is anymore. Clearly, this is why I'm asking for help. Your rate, ideally by project. I don't really like to fuck in the hourly world. Personally, it's not my jam. Of course, we would negotiate entirely, but, you know, there's been a time or two where I've outsourced to writers, and like a blog that would have taken me an hour and cost like, I don't know, $100, took like this other writer like 2.5 days, and they were like, yeah, $380. And I'm like, no, I don't want to lose money on this. Anyway, but your portfolio, I care about you so much, but I cannot bring down newbies at the moment. I do not have the time or the wherewithal to teach people copy. And also, like, if I'm just going to teach you how to write copy, then I'm just going to do it myself. You know what I mean? Because like there's too much back and forth, and like the whole point is for this to take off of my plate. You know what I mean? Like take it off, and like you do it, then like me do it. I'm not even looking for anything perfect writing wise. I just need someone to like come in and fill in the bare bones every now and then. Sometimes when I'm just behind and I'm overwhelmed, and then I can fix it from there. You know what I mean? Like I'm happy to do that, but you need no newbies. Not really. At the same time, I admire someone who's got the hustle and is ready. Go with your gut on that one. I'll determine when I hunt through. Was that it? you know, you'll see it in there, like things like why would you be a good fit, all the things. But keep in mind the things that matter to me as a human being and what I'm really looking for in team members. That's the cheesiest thing. The ability to hit deadlines above anything and everything else. I don't care if you have to pull an all-nighter, like that's a you problem. Just like me, sometimes I have to pull all-nighters because I didn't manage my time well. Not that much anymore, but like I would cut off my arm before I miss a deadline. That's just how I am, and that's what I need from other people. You know, granted, sicknesses, car accidents, family emergencies, all of these things. Did my fucking air conditioner just off? But so deadlines above everything and anything else. Like I need to be able to give it to people, make sure it hits by the deadline. I never, almost never give anything to someone like where they're forced to stay up all night, like, you know, tagging you at like 5 p.m. like, hey, can you have this by like to me by tomorrow? Like, if I ever did, I would pay you double or triple because that's annoying. There would be enough buffer and there is understanding of life, but outside of that, deadlines are everything. Okay, cool. I don't even know why I'm explaining that. Like that's how it works. I like people who are followers of Cal Newport and all of his ideas that I've mentioned in all of these videos. Deep work, deliberate practice. I do not like to be pinged a million times. I'm very hard to reach, which is, I don't know if that would make me a good or decent boss, but we're not going to be hanging down on Slack all the time. Not that I don't want to get to know you. I'm sure you're a wonderful person. We will have our times and our like moments. I don't like to do meetings, you know. I like to just work. Not that meetings won't be a part of it, like, you know, it has to be for life and things, but just keep that in mind. These are all just things that I wrote down, like, what am I looking for in people? And maybe, you know, if you've been a hiring manager, you can tell me your tips and tricks for, like, how to sort through and figure out who to bring on and how to help. So, let's hope that I get my life together and bring on help so then these videos aren't so rushed and messy, and my newsletter, people hear from me more often. Just whatever freelance skills you have, just pitch them to me. Honestly, I don't know what I need. I know I'm going to be switching my email marketing list from, like, I think MailChimp to ConvertKit. MailChimp did some shit lately I'm not happy about. So whatever skills you have that you're like, actually, here's what I think you could need, please just tell me. I don't know what I need. And sometimes there are people who have skills that I don't even know that I need. And then when I hear about it, I'm like, I need that. Thank you. Cool. That is pretty much it. Yeah. Cool. Links to everything down below. Bye, guys.